We are ready for the exercises for lesson 2.1, which was a lesson on exponents. This lesson, the exercises come from OpenStax College Algebra 2E, and there's a link here. These are the exercises I will be going over. So I recommend you try them first and then come back to this video. We can go over them together. Let's get started. This is our directions for every single exercise. Simplify the given expression. All of this will be properties of exponents. So here, we can take a few steps. In the numerator, I have a product, and so this will be a to the 3 plus 2, which is a to the 5. The denominator is a to the 1, and this will be a to the 5 minus 1, which is a to the 4th power. This is the answer to this first one. 33 has letters P and Q. We want to write this where we have just positive exponents in the end. This was part of the directions in the problem. So the first thing I'll do is just move things where they go to where they have positive exponents, and then I can simplify from there. So for example, the Q squared, I'll leave in the numerator, and P squared, I'll leave in the denominator. But then you see in the denominator, I have a Q to the minus 3. So this is in the numerator as a Q cubed. And then the P to the minus 4 in the numerator is really in the denominator as a P to the 4. Now, for both the numerator and the denominator, I just want to add. So Q to the 3 times Q squared is Q to the 3 plus 2, which is Q to the 5th. P squared times P to the 4th is P to the 4 plus 2, which is P to the 6th power. And this will be my final answer here. 36. Let me go ahead and simplify what's inside these parentheses. 2 cubed is 8. So I have a over 8. And now when I square this, my numerator is a squared. My denominator is 8 squared. And 8 squared is 64. So I have a squared divided by 64. This would be my answer here. Number 40. Well, I'm going to do a few steps here. The first, I'll just leave the denominator alone. We have m cubed, we have a squared, and I'm going to distribute this squared across the parentheses. So I have m squared, and then I have a to the 6 squared. Well, let me recopy most of this. Let me recopy the m squared, the m cubed, and the a squared. But this part here in the numerator, we have power to a power, we multiply. And so we have a to the 12th power. Now I can just take a few more steps, simplify this and simplify this. So the a's will be in my numerator. In my numerator, we have a to the 12th power, 12 minus 2 power. And in the denominator, we will have m to the 3 minus 2. And then here is my final answer. We have a to the 10th power divided by m. This is simplified where I have left everything with positive exponents. 38. Here I have a 1/2 power, so I need to distribute that across these parentheses. Maybe I'll write this as a square root. The first one, this would be square root 144. And then these I will leave as a 1/2 power in my first step. We have p squared to the 1/2. We have q to the 6 to the 1/2. Well, the square root of 144 is 12 because 12 squared is 144. So this is 12. Now, the other two parts of this are power to a power, we multiply. So here we just get p to the 1, and here we get q to the 6 times 1/2, which is q cubed. This is my answer in 38. 45. Well, it's kind of similar to the last one in that we have a 1/2 power. Well, 25 times 2 is 50. Maybe I will do this as an intermediate step. So underneath here, I have a 25. I have y to the 8, and then I have 2. So when I take the square root of this, we can do this as the square root of 25 times, say, y to the 8 raised to the 1/2 power, and then times the square root of 2. And the reason I did this is because the square root of 25 is an integer. In fact, it's 5. So that's my next step. This is 5. This is y to the 4th. And then we have this times the square root of 2. And this is as simple as we can make it. The square root of 2 is not an integer, so we just leave it like this. This was 45. 68. Well, what we want to do here is evaluate each separately. So evaluate this, evaluate this, evaluate this. In the end, we will get a number here. 4 to the 3/2 power. If you recall with rational exponents, you can first take the square root and then cube. So I will definitely do that here. This would be 2 cubed, because 2 is the square root of 4. The square root of 16 is 4. So this would be minus 4 cubed. And then 8 to the 1/3 power is 2. Because 2 cubed is 8. Now I have 2 more steps. 2 cubed is 8. 4 cubed would be 16 times 4, which is 64, and then divided by 2. 8 minus 64 is negative 56. Then we divide by 2, and I'm left with negative 28. This is our answer to 68. Number 69, this is our last example, and this is intricate. We have so many things going on. We have radicals, negative exponents, we have fractions, and we have 4 different letters, A, M, N, and C. So this is definitely challenging. I don't expect this to be easy for anyone, really including myself. But how are we going to go about this? It's a great exercise. I think for me, I'm just going to turn everything into powers. You could work with the radicals and work with the powers separately as a first step, but I'm going to turn everything to powers. So this is mn cubed to the 1/2 power. Then I have a to the minus 7, n to the minus 2. I have a squared, c to the minus 3 to the 1/2 power. And then I have m squared c to the 4th to the 1/2 power. So far, I've just rewritten this, writing the radicals as a 1/2 power. But here's where I'm going to make my first step of writing everything as a power. So here I have m to the 1/2. I have n cubed to the 1/2 is n to the 3/2. N to the 3/2. Then I have a to the minus 7, n to the minus 2. We have a squared. We have c to the minus 3/2. Then we have m squared to the 1/2. Power to a power, we multiply. This will be m to the 1. And we have c squared, c to the 4th to the 1/2, we multiply. 4 times 1/2 is 2. So this is my first step, and I think it makes it a little bit less confusing. My next step, I'd like to write everything with positive powers and group the sort of like letters. So you notice I have an m to the 1/2. And I have an m to the 1. Let's do letter n. In the numerator, I will have an n to the 3/2. Here I have an n squared. Let's do letter A. Here I'm just going to have 1 in the numerator and I'll have a squared, a to the 7th in the denominator. Lastly, we have letter C. We have a C to the 3/2, and down here we have a C squared. Now I'm in really fantastic shape because for each one here, 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 and here, I can write each one of these with a positive exponent. Let's do the m. This will be in the denominator with an m to the 1/2. With the n, well, you notice this is also an n to the 1/2. Letter A, also in the denominator, we have a to the 9. And letter C, it's very, very much like letter N. We have 4/2 minus 3/2 in the denominator, which is c to the 1/2. And if we want, we can go back to radicals. We see the answer here. In fact, you could have got to the solution keeping everything in radicals. I just found it easier to convert to powers. So you see the answer in the denominator. I have a radical. It's a big square root of n, m, n, c, m, n, c. And then we have a to the 9. Oh, I told you this would be quite intricate, and it certainly was. But that being said, it was also a great exercise with working with exponents and their properties. So this was the last exercise here. Thank you.